because, the opening track, Mosaic.
Yeah.
Right. And I just wrote on here, it to me anyway, when I listen to it, it's all about wanting to make your mark on the world, but seeing how God brings it all together.
You want to hear the teaser for that then?
Yeah, come on.
Okay, so this will cause somebody to want to go listen to that song.
Okay.
I went to school from 3rd grade through 12th grade with a young man named Chris Bonds who had muscular dystrophy. And after he was the most remarkable human being. And this president of the student body at our senior year at Brentwood Academy, he sang, when we would do the shows on stage at school. I remember him singing the Ronnie Millsap song, "What a Difference You Made in My Life." Mm-hmm. He was singing it as a gospel song. And I remember when he told me that, I was stunned, because here's this guy that's got muscular dystrophy singing to God. Well, then his mother handed me a poem that he had written after his funeral. He lived to be 28, and I think his family had been prepared for him to live to be 15. They were told maybe 15, something like that, but he lived to be 28. After he was gone, after the funeral, his mom handed me a poem that he had written, and it just floored me what this poem said. And it was basically him trying to understand his place, his position, or lack thereof on some levels, I don't know how to say it, but somehow it seems to me that maybe we're stationed where God wants us to be. Mm-hmm. And he's already like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this, that the little place I'm filling is the reason for my birth. And just to do the work I do, he sent me here to earth. And it's just smacking me, bam, in the head, every verse. And he gets into the body of the poem, talking about, like a lot more lofty position with higher things to do, he says, "But I come to the conclusion when the envying is stilled, that the post to which God sent me is the post he wanted filled." And he says, "So I plod along and struggle and hope when day is through that I am really necessary to the things God wants to do. And there isn't any service I can give which I should scorn, for it may be the very reason God allowed me to be born."
Yeah.
So, sheesh.
So good.
You know what? I said that poem to a church audience one night on a Wednesday night. They had invited me to come play. And I go and give the Chris Bonds Award at the football banquet at Brentwood Academy every few years or every couple of years or something, just because I always want, first of all, whoever is receiving this to know who he was, so they know why this is special that they're getting this. Yeah. And then to make sure the parents know and the coaches know, because they're not 30-something years, 40-something years, 50-something years later giving an award, they don't know why, and who this guy was and what was so special about him, and he was very special. So I go and do that, but I lost it one night at the church when I was saying that poem. I'm not talking about just a little bit. I lost it.
Couldn't speak anymore.
Like inside, I was wanting to flee the room. That was the first thing that was crossing my mind, was to get up and run out, And I was telling a pastor friend of mine the following week, a friend of mine named Phil Bennett. I told him, I said, "Man, I don't know what happened to me the other night." "What?" I told him what happened, and I said, "Yeah, I don't know what happened." He goes, "Oh, I know what happened." I said, "Well, enlighten me." He said, "In that moment, God was allowing you to see his heart for Chris Bonds." And I was like, yeah, that makes sense.